It's the body camera footage so many in Chicago had been demanding for weeks. This video now released to the public for the first time today. It shows an officer in hot pursuit, which in a split second becomes a fatal encounter. Adam Toledo, shot and killed by Chicago police. He was 13 years old.
If you're shooting an unarmed child with his hands in the air, it is an assassination.
Just after 2 a.m. on March 29th, Chicago police respond to reports of shots fired.
Chicago emergency, Travis.
Hi, I just heard gunshots.
But how many shots did you hear?
A lot, more than 5.
When the two officers arrive at the scene, the pursuit begins. One 21-year-old suspect is shoved to the ground, handcuffed. Another officer chases 13-year-old Toledo down an alley. The officer shouts at Toledo to stop.
Please stop! Stop right now! Hands! Show me your hands! Stop it!
Toledo turns and begins to raise his hands. The officer fires a single shot. The officer begins CPR, but it's too late.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Get an ambulance up here now!
Chicago police's initial report of the incident had said that Toledo used force to cause bodily harm or death and showed imminent threat of battery with a weapon. The report also alleging that on the night of the incident, Toledo was armed with a semi-automatic pistol. In the video, you can see what appears to be a handgun recovered on the other side of the fence from Toledo. But during that critical moment, when the shot was fired, it does not appear Toledo was holding a gun.
I've seen no evidence whatsoever that Adam Toledo shot at the police.
Those videos speak for themselves. Adam, during his last second of life, did not have a gun in his hand.
Why'd you kill a child?
Tonight, protesters in Chicago taking to the streets to demand justice for the boy.
Seeing the Adam Toledo video was soul-crushing. It was devastating. There's no way to explain it. Watching that child killed, it's heartbreaking. And I've seen a million of these, and this one is among the worst.
Much of the focus on police accountability this week has been in the Minneapolis area. Across the state of Minnesota, at least 55 black people have died in police encounters in the last 20 years. The latest cases involving George Floyd, and just this past weekend, Daunte Wright, resonating across the country.
Every day we're seeing more footage, more transcripts from courts, more press conferences, more death. It's traumatic. It chips away at our spirit. People all around this country who are witnessing these spectacular forms of violence, we all need a mental health check.
Today, former Brooklyn Center police officer Kim Potter facing a judge for the first time via Zoom. The veteran cop of 26 years charged with second-degree manslaughter after shooting 20-year-old Daunte Wright on Sunday. Authorities say Potter, who was training another officer at the time, pulled Wright over for an expired tag on his car. Officers discovering a warrant out for his arrest, issued after Wright failed to appear in court earlier this month on charges including carrying a firearm without a permit. As they tried to arrest him, a struggle breaks out. Moments later, Potter firing that fatal shot into Wright's left side while yelling taser.
What do you make of the argument that it was a terrible accident, that the officer thought it was a taser and fired by accident?
We are taught to give officers the benefit of the doubt. But every case, every dead black person makes the doubt less and less. And we're at a point now where we don't believe the officer when they say, I thought it was a taser and not my handgun.
Wright's family lawyer questioning how a 26-year police veteran could have mixed up the two weapons.
At what point did you not feel that this was a gun in your hand versus a taser? And so the family, obviously, they are glad she got charged.
We were inside that conference room with Wright's friends and family as they watched Potter's first court appearance on an iPad today. Wright's parents at the opposite end of the table. This was the first time the family had seen Potter.
You just left the Zoom meeting, the Zoom hearing for Officer Potter. How did that feel to see her?
It hurt really bad. I have
hatred, anger, sadness.
My colleague Stephanie Ramos speaking to his parents right after, emotions still raw.
To see how protected she is, how protected it seems like it's very hurtful to see she just sitting there.
And gave us a wave.
Like nothing's happened.
The wave is what really hurt my heart. She was able to just wave in the camera.
Did you feel as though there was any sense of remorse for her killing your son?
Nope.
None.
What does justice look like for the both of you, for your family?
I don't see justice at all. And I don't think my husband does either. I think justice is something that nobody can offer us right now, because that would mean my son would walk through my doors. My son would still be in my house. My son would still be at holidays and birthdays. And we will never have that again. So justice is not even a word to me. Accountability, yes, but justice, never.
Former Brooklyn Center police officer Kim Potter was brought to this jail here before being released on bond. Potter is scheduled to be back in this court next month, and this courthouse is actually diagonally across from where the Derek Chauvin trial is taking place.
Today, inside this courtroom, both the defense and prosecution resting their case in the trial of former Minneapolis officer Derek Chauvin over the killing of 46-year-old George Floyd. Chauvin, for the first time, speaking in court.
Have you made a decision today whether you intend to testify or whether you intend to invoke your Fifth Amendment privilege?
I will invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege today.
Choosing to remain silent, invoking his right against self-incrimination.
The defense's argument is that they believe there are too many factors in the cause of death to truly determine what was a manner of his death. The prosecution is saying this is a homicide, not in the legal sense, but in the medical examiner's sense, and that it's death by another.
This week, perhaps the key defense witness, forensic pathologist Dr. David Fowler, disputing the prosecution's claim that George Floyd's death was a homicide, saying instead his cause of death is undetermined because of other factors, including a heart condition and drug use.
How did the heart and drugs contribute to the cause of death?
They were significant.
But Fowler's argument running contrary to the testimony of several other medical experts called by the prosecution last week, who all testified that Floyd died of asphyxia or lack of oxygen because of Chauvin kneeling on his neck.
A healthy person subjected to what Mr. Floyd was subjected to would have died.
All eyes will be on closing arguments scheduled for Monday, and then the Chauvin case will be in the hands of the jury. While a nation remains on edge, waiting and hoping that the wheels of justice deliver just that, justice.
The American public can wrap its mind around varying guilty verdicts. But if there's a not guilty verdict, this country will go up in flames.
And why do you say that? Why is an acquittal so inflammatory in this moment, in this country?
An acquittal in this case would represent the worst possibilities of America and American racism playing out in front of our eyes. We've debated cases like Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman, or Mike Brown and Darren Wilson, but George Floyd and Derek Chauvin was something that almost all of us agreed on. Conservatives, liberals, cops, civilians, everybody said this was wrong. And if we can't get a conviction when everybody agrees that it was wrong and we saw it, then there's no hope. And where there's no hope, there will be no peace.
Be sure to stay with ABC News Live for complete coverage of the trial of Derek Chauvin.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.